Welcome to the Sacred Art of Gaming's State of the Table for summer of 2026. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. This is a fun new idea that I thought up and felt like it was a lot of fun to do, so we're doing it. And what this is going to do, maybe like a quarterly type thing where it's just kind of showing you where I'm at. And I'm going to talk about some of the things I'm like really excited about, whether it's stuff that I've just been reading a lot, playing a lot, or oogling over as it's not released yet. So this is the Sacred Art of Gaming, where we love talking about tabletop gaming, world building, building characters, actual plays, solo play. We do those things. Now let's get into the state of the table. I'm just gonna kind of give you some highlights of, you know, what's up, what's down, and maybe go over some highlights and end this with a power ranking. Let's go! That power ranking is not the top 20 best games in my opinion. No. That is rating the games and supplements and how I'm feeling about them currently. So first up, let's talk about Dragonbane. Surprise, surprise, I know. So Dragonbane is incredible. We've also got 2 books coming out very soon, which has got me really jazzed. That's probably the biggest thing that's got me really pumped about it. I have access to the PDFs, and when I physically get them in my greedy little paws, you're gonna see a lot of Dragonbane. So there's the Arcane book, which is like an urban setting for Dragonbane, which we don't have yet, and then there's also the Magic book, which is going to expand that quite a bit, and that's my jam. 2 other big announcements regarding Dragonbane is there's going to be like the Adventures of Elric, was it in Stormbringer, I think, right? I'm not really too familiar with that, but I am cautiously observing. And then there's also Trudvang, which I also am not too familiar with, but based on what I saw on the Kickstarter, I was very interested, so that's another thing that I'm going to be doing. They're using the Dragonbane system in their own worlds. The Dragonbane system is just something that I just keep going back to. It's got amazing art, it's got an amazing layout, it is so fun to play solo, and it's going down as one of my all-time greats. Speaking of all-time greats, we're going to talk about Index Card RPG, which, I mean, is probably always going to be on this list because there's just so much in this book and all of the other books. Speaking of books, they came out with the Power Tools book, which is a big part of the reason it's being discussed now. More stuff. I don't know if I'm quite as excited about that as I am like the Dragonbane Book of Magic and Arcane, but it is stuff nonetheless, which we haven't had anything new for Index Card RPG in quite some time. As many of you know, Index Card RPG is probably my go-to game. I can just pick up and play anytime. There's multiple fun settings. It's very easy to hack. It's asking to be hacked, to play other games too and messing around with it whatever way you want. And the GM advice in this is top tier, and it's gonna go down as one of the all-time greats when it comes to GM advice. Now this one may come as somewhat of a surprise, and that is Blades in the Dark. Blades in the Dark and I have an interesting relationship because Blades in the Dark kind of ventures into that Powered by the Apocalypse layer of gaming that I generally am not a fan of. But lately, as some of you may be aware, I'm doing a 30-day Powered by the Apocalypse challenge where I play nothing but Powered by the Apocalypse and see if it changes my mind and also if it changes how I think about gaming. Because I needed a break from, and there's another game that's like this too, because I needed a break from the pure Powered by the Apocalypse games, I mix in games like this, which are Powered by the Apocalypse-ish, adjacent, inspired by. And Blades in the Dark might just be a sneaky good solo play game. The gameplay loop in Blades in the Dark it's so good. I feel like it's the perfect mix, especially for solo play, where it gives you enough room to play the game and feel like you're role-playing, but confined enough to kind of keep you moving forward and not feeling lost ever. You know that you have a thing that you need to do, you kind of plan for it, but not really. You don't have to plan for it that much. You can just jump right in and do flashbacks, which is huge. That helps a lot. And then you have like your downtime and everything that happened because of the actions that you took. rinse and repeat. I love that. Not to mention, there's a lot of advice in here that I feel like every time I pick up this book, it hits me in waves. I learn new techniques for both solo play and GMing. Probably no surprise, considering what I just said. But Band of Blades, everything I just said about Blades in the Dark also applies to Band of Blades. But, as some of you may know, this is a game that I've been wanting to play for quite some time. Probably 3+ years now. It's been sitting on my shelf of shame. Have not played it. I have now finally played it. It took getting overloaded by Power by the Apocalypse to finally dive in, because the amount of taxes that you're doing while you're playing this game can be overwhelming at first. But when you get over that hump, I feel like I've unlocked a whole nother kind of game. It really changed how I viewed bookkeeping, because the resource management and the bookkeeping, it feels necessary for the fun, making sure that you have food, making sure you have horses to accomplish the type of missions that you want to accomplish. This is a military game, and you're managing multiple legionnaires, you're managing specialists, you're managing soldiers, you're managing rookies, and seeing them grow up the ranks is really cool. And also, playing multiple characters has been a lot of fun in this game. Initially, it kind of turned me off, I'm not gonna lie to you. But as everyone started to grow and they built relationships in the downtime, love it. Similar gameplay loop to Blades in the Dark. Maybe even, I don't know if I'd say better, but just better for me. And I want to apply these concepts to other games. I almost don't even want to spoil it yet, but there's things in this book that I've learned that I can apply to other stuff and have a lot of fun with it. Triple O! I've talked about this quite a bit. It's not here physically yet, so I've got all these crazy little printouts of it all over the place, but this is the only one I have with the title screen on it. Triple O is a player character emulator, which, as you'd imagine, like I mentioned for Band of Blades and maybe other games like that, some games like Masks and Avatar Legends where I'm forced to I don't know if I'd say forced, but it behooves you to play multiple characters that kind of build on each other. Something like that really helps you get an idea as to what characters are going to do without you having to manage them and not play as them all the time. You don't even have to play as any characters with Triple O. You can just be like the GM and use it as a PC emulator, and maybe you just run the dungeon and you see who survives, which I did towards the tail end of my Shadow Dark play, which will happen at the end of many worlds. Triple O is huge because it changed how I looked at solo play and opened up all of my pre-made adventures that I was mostly ignoring. Now they're assets. There are things that I'm slowly going through them and playing through them and having a blast doing it. Wild Sea. Holy shit. This game has an insanely unique setting. Possibly the most unique setting that I've come across in recent memory, maybe ever. I love it. I love the idea of having a ship and traveling over the trees, and there's the layers beneath the trees, and having to deal with a lack of fire because you don't want to cause an inferno on the trees. God, it's so much fun. There's some cool mechanics to it, like cut, for example, which kind of adds some additional layers on top of games like Blades in the Dark. And having a crew with these very unique races and all of so many layers to your character building and how those are going to come together, I think a lot of what I learned in Band of Blades can be applied to this in a really fun way. Hopefully this isn't cheating, but I feel like this is a duo worth mentioning. Dungeon World and the Perilous Wilds. I know, you're seeing arguably a Power by the Apocalypse game on this list, which is insane. Now, Perilous Wilds, the reason why I want to bring it up is because I've owned this for quite some time, and I've used it for many other games, and it hasn't really fully clicked for me until I used it for its intended purpose, which is for Dungeon World. And Dungeon World was an excellent gateway for me into the other Power by the Apocalypse games. And I think that's kind of intentional. It's sort of in this weird spot where it's not a full traditional Power by the Apocalypse game. It's kind of halfway between I don't know if I'd say D&D 5th edition, but D&D in general as an idea, and Power by the Apocalypse. And I think it does a great job of easing me in to that style, especially if you're resistant to it. Now, Dungeon World is, I think a part of the reason it's been on my shelf of shame for solo play for so long is because it's just kind of, it's a lot of text. It's a lot of text. This is an older game, so I mean, once you start going through all of these walls of text, it's not that bad, but you definitely need to dig. You need to read the book, really, which is just something that for me to sit down and read a book in its entirety and absorb that information, just not gonna happen. But as I do that, as I play it, I'm uncovering all of these interesting nuggets, and I see why Dungeon World is renowned as such an influential game for a lot of people. And also shout out to Wallona's Cave, who was very helpful in his videos for not just Dungeon World, but also Avatar Legends, which I was also struggling with. Thanks, Moses. Next we have Daggerheart, another game you probably didn't expect to see in here. Now, Daggerheart is an interesting one, where a lot of people were complaining about things that were not good for Daggerheart. I actually saw opportunities for that in solo play. And for my personal experiences with like Blades in the Dark that I mentioned previously, in group play, they didn't go over very well. And I think part of that was part of the group that I had and this type of game they like to play. I see that here in Daggerheart. The character options are great, and having the cards with them, it's just a lot of fun. The way that they have the domains for each of the classes, it kind of unlocked something in my brain that has really inspired me for future games and building out my own. I mean, everyone's designing a game at some point, right? I would be remiss if I did not mention the setting overlays, but also the environment. I forget what it's called here, but they have like stat blocks for environments, which I think is a really cool mechanic that I will probably pull into other games. Notice the theme. Things that have inspired me in these books that I want to apply to as many things as I can. Now let's talk about Cartograph. Now Cartograph, as well as Caught in the Rain and the solo role-playing cards, I got all of those at the same time. I did not have the original Cartograph, but this one, the Atlas edition, really knocked my socks off. More so than Caught in the Rain. I think the way this delivers from beginning to end, I enjoyed a little bit more than Caught in the Rain. I think the build-up for Caught in the Rain was amazing, and then the way it ended, in my experiences, I don't know. It's hard with a mystery. It's really what it comes down to. But Cartograph, which is what we're talking about now, this is exploration on another level. You're not just building a map, which is what I thought it was. You can really dig into this and full-on roleplay this as an adventurer. You can get into like the combat and the hazards as much as you want. And you develop a product that you can use for other games, and I always love that. Now let's talk about the GOAT. One of the GOATs. And that is Ironsworn, Starforged, Sundered Isles, all of those games. This may also surprise you, because this is, again, Powered by the Apocalypse adjacent. And the brilliance of this game really shines now that I have rapid fire played a bunch of traditional Powered by the Apocalypse games. Some of the things I complained about previously are things that I now reach for in Ironsworn and Starforged, etc. So yeah, as I'm like slowly hacking away at how do I make this better, it keeps coming back to pretty much the system for Ironsworn. This game may have many moves, and I'm slowly getting the flow chart down in my head. Once I play other games, maybe I'll lose it again, hopefully not. Hopefully it writes into long-term memory. But at a bare minimum, the amount of tables and resources and world building that go into this game, so good. Even if you dislike the system, which I'm starting to realize is like borderline perfect. Next we have Twilight Sword. Maybe I'll put up a graphic somewhere. That's not physically out. It is on its way. It has been kickstarted. And boy, oh boy, I have the beta, the crafting and cooking mechanics. Love it, so jazzed over that. The gameplay loop is also really cool, probably on the lighter side compared to some of the stuff I've mentioned previously, like Blades in the Dark and Band of Blades, but still really fun. And just the vibes, the layout, the art, it all just pulls you in. I feel like a kid again playing it. and I'm just so excited to get all of the physical pieces that come with it, which are all squares. Last but certainly not least for mentions, we have Land of Eam, which you get a lot here. You get a lot. Now with that game, with this game, Land of Eam, I really love the idea of the combat phases, and it has me thinking about other games and how something similar can be applied. And it kind of makes me appreciate other games that have the combat phases that I've bounced off of in the past. Maybe I'll revisit them like Crown and Skull. But yeah, the way it's laid out in Land of Eam in such an inviting, colorful way, just the vibes and the sandbox style of it just really pulls me in. I want to think when Baby Sacred #2 is here, hopefully when she's sleeping, that is when Land of Eam is gonna get my full attention, hopefully. All right, now kind of just like some general stuff for, the ups and the downs, so to speak, that maybe I haven't mentioned. Like Savage Worlds, for example, has ETU Fresh Blood out. I don't know, I'm just not really pulled into it right now. Shadow Dark, I have stuff on the way. Maybe when it's in my hands, I'll feel differently. But I'm kind of just like, meh, about, like, I like Shadow Dark. I like Shadow Dark a lot. But compared to some of these other games, like maybe it would be in the 20 to 30 range, but right now there's just other stuff I'm more excited about. Masks, I loved Masks. Avatar Legends, I think it's unfair to say it's Avatar Legends as a whole. My beef was with the starter adventures. They're not good at teaching you the game, in my opinion. Requires a lot of work on the GM or the solo player to actually run that. But I think after looking at Root, I think that might just be a PBTA thing, that's just how their adventures are. Tales from Elsewhere should be coming somewhat soon as we get like a final beta, or a final product, I should say. I'll probably be more jazzed about that. On the flip side of that, Broken Empires, like we haven't really gotten much that I can like sink my teeth into, so I'm kind of down on Broken Empires right now, which is unfortunate. Fighting Fantasy, the books, the adventure books, I'm gonna play all of them. It was a bad investment on my part. I tried to relive a childhood that I never had. They're okay, they're okay. Maybe I just need to spice them up. I've seen some people do that. Walking Dead. I'm very jazzed. I wanna mix some Walking Dead / Band of Blades to do like a State of Decay thing. I think that would be really fun. And also seeing a friend of the channel, Soloist Venture, playing it has just got me excited, and it's kind of jumping up in the queue. RuneQuest. I don't know, I've been kind of meh on RuneQuest lately. I do need to revisit it soon, but there's just so many games, so little time. Fallout was a nice surprise. I'm excited to dive into Vagabond someday. I decided to dive into Mutant Crawl Classics and Delta Green on a physical level, so that's something. And then Legend in the Mist. That comes out soon. I've looked at the PDF. I've done the solo adventure, or the entry-level adventure, and I loved that. But to look at the book in the PDF, like, it's just similar deal that I've had with City of Mist. It's not pulling me in yet. Maybe when I have it physically in front of me, that'll be different, because I'm finding that when the book is in my hands, I can conquer just about anything. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the power rankings, and hopefully, I can put them up somewhere. But we'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way up. So, number 20 for our power rankings right now, we have Starborg. I've been loving Starborg, and it really made me take a look at, it kind of inspired me in a lot of ways to do the Powered by the Apocalypse thing, because it uses, in the solo rules, some Powered by the Apocalypse-esque mechanics in combination with Morkborg, and it kind of made me want to play both of those styles of games. So maybe Morkborg will be the next, I don't know if I'd say a challenge, because Morkborg is not something that I need to overcome. I just haven't played it in a while. Number 19, Pendragon. I love me some Pendragon, and there's just so much in Pendragon that inspires me to play other games and utilize those things, like the traits in other games. I dig it a lot. Fallout. I only have the starter set. I kind of consider getting the core book every now and then. Haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. But that D20 Modifius mechanic, I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. Legend of the Mist, which I already mentioned, that being my number 17. Number 16, the solo RPG cards, also by Raven Ridge Press, I believe. Love those. I use those with just about everything. Number 15, Many Worlds. Here's Many Worlds. It's by Sharp Mountain Games, John Fredericks. I've been having a blast play that on the channel, and it really made me think about the importance of light TTRPGs and where that fits in our hobby. Number 14, Daggerheart, which we've already discussed. Number 13, Cartograph. Number 12, Starforged. Number 11, EasyD6. I didn't discuss it too much, but EasyD6, in a similar vein as Index Card RPG, it's one of my go-tos, man. I love EasyD6. Number 10, big surprise, Dungeon World Perilous Wilds. Holy crap. I never would have thought we would be here. We'll see how long that lasts. Number 9, Index Card RPG. Number 8, Wildsea. This one and the one that comes after it, I kind of kept going back and forth on. I need more time with Wildsea. And number 7, Fabula Ultima. I probably should have discussed Fabula Ultima in more detail. I don't think my video for it has released yet, but there's so many good things about Fabula Ultima that I love. And it's very similar to Twilight Sword in the sense that it has a similar vibe and the layout really pulls you in, but where Fabula Ultima differs is the fun character class stuff that you can do with that game. There's other ways it differs too quite a bit. Fabula Ultima being on the crunchier side than Twilight Sword. Number 6, Blades in the Dark. Number 5, Land of Eam. Number 4, Dragonbane. You might be thinking, what if the top 3 of Dragonbane and Index Card RPG have already been mentioned? Number 3, Twilight Sword. I'm obsessed with Twilight Sword right now. I don't even have it in my hands, but when I get it, God help us, there's gonna be, because I've got all the little physical little bits coming, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Number 2, Triple O. The reason why? Triple O it's literally changed how I think. It's changed the hobby for me as a whole. It has to be there. And then number 1, Band of Blades, a game that I thought I would love, and I was right. It just took me a long time to get there. Absolutely obsessed with Band of Blades. It does like end, but I can't help but think about all the fun ways to hack this up and do like a Warhammer 40K version of it and open it up so there is no end, and so many fun ways that I can apply the systems in that game to other games. So good. So that has been the 2026 summer State of the Table. Let me know your thoughts. What are you excited about right now? I want to hear about it in the comments down below. I'm Sacred. This is the Sacred Art of Gaming, and I'll see you in the next quarter and/or season, and we'll see how many things have changed. See ya.